Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. May I introduce myself? My name is Bùi Thị Ngọc Oanh. I am a lecturer at Nha Trang University. I have been working here for 13 years. I'm working at the faculties of foreign languages, departments of language skills. I'm happy to present to you the project-based learning helps to improve paragraph writing skills of English major students. I'm teaching the freshmen how to write academic paragraphs, including description paragraphs, comparison or contrast paragraphs, cause or effects paragraphs in 30 periods in class. In the mini test at the beginning of the writing course, I recognized that for more than 40% of the students lacked vocabularies, ideas, and social knowledge to write a competent academic paragraphs. Therefore, I chose paragraph project-based learning. Project-based learning focuses on activities aiming to make a product through group work. This is also an opportunity for the students of different experience levels to work together and solve a practical, meaningful problem, according to Friedput 2002. This is also the method supporting students to achieve the 21st century skills consisting of group working, problem solving, doing research, time management, information collecting, and using technology. Project-based learning boosts critical thinking, communication skills, and creativity through group work. In another research by Sadeghi, Banias, and Soleimani in 2006, students who this project to study writing skills has better results than those who just learned following instructions in textbook. Therefore, it is supposed that project-based learning will improve the freshman paragraph writing skills. Another reason why the authors choose for the students to create a small newspaper is that students can get familiar with doing research to write a newspaper at university. At the university now, the students do not care about doing research, and they don't want to do research at university. Another reason is that students can become acquainted with the style, the format, the design, and illustration of small newspaper. In order to make a newspaper, students should read a lot to have deep knowledge and skills. And in the metas, the subjects was 64 English major students of writing to classes aged from 18 to 19 years old. It was divided into two classes. 32 students of class 60 NNA5, this is the experimental class, and 32 students of class 60 NNA6, this is the traditional class. Both classes studied paragraph writing skills in class by the same lecturer, and they were asked to do the homework, which accounted for 10% of assessment of the writing course. Each student of the traditional class had to write 10 paragraphs of 150 words for their homework, while the students of the experimental class were divided into small groups of 4 or 5 students and were asked to produce a 10-page newspaper. The small newspapers include the index with titles of the writing pieces, the page numbers, and the names of the authors. The small newspapers was illustrated, and all the writing pieces was in the same theme. The students has freedom to choose the theme for their newspaper and to choose the genres to write, such as poems, stories, descriptive paragraphs of people or places, cause or effects paragraphs, comparison or contrast paragraphs, and so on. In the first week, the lecturer introduced a sample of a newspaper, and the students were divided into groups. The students can form the groups themselves because they can know their partners clearly, and it is easier for them to exchange information and to help them in writing. In the second week, the students submitted the group list to the lecturer and they chose a theme for the newspaper. In the fourth week, the students submitted the theme of the newspaper and discussed the criteria of 10 marks to assess the newspaper. In the fifth week, the group submitted the criteria to assess the newspaper, which were made known in class as soon as possible. In the other weeks, the students decided their tasks in their groups and created their small newspaper, and at the 13th week, they send the newspaper to the lecturer, and the lecturer will mark their newspapers and give comments. And at the end of the course, students did the online surveys at surveymonkey.com. 10 random students was interviewed about their advantages and difficulties in doing the project. Finally, the author compared the final paper results amongst the students of the two classes. These are the criteria to assess the small newspaper by the students and the lecturer. 1 point is for illustration, creative images, and aesthetics. 3 points are for the contents. The contents should be relevant to the theme, creativity, logical, precise, various information, and impressive. 2 points are for coherence. 2 points for grammar, and another 2 points are for vocabulary. And these are the results. 32 experimental students completed the online survey, and 90% of the students thought that their writing skills had been improved. 90% of the students like doing projects for homework, and the project helps the students improve the following skills. 50% of the students thought that their group work were improved. 20% of the students thought that writing skills, vocabulary, and grammar was improved. 5% of the students agreed that time managing and work arrangement was improved. And another 5% of the students agreed that their designs and editing newspaper skills was improved. Some students also thought that their concentration, listening skills, and sharing skills was improved. In order to assure the data incredibility, a t-test was carried out among the results of the final exams of the two classes. We can see that the means value of the two classes was 1.22, which means the classes 60 and NA5 make more progress than the traditional class. And this signifies that students who do projects has better results than the traditional class. These results are similar to the results of the second questions on the online survey, is that 90% of the experimental students feel that their writing skills has been improved. The p-value was 0.02, which is much smaller than the alpha value, which is 0.05. This means a significant difference between the experimental class and the traditional class. The difference indicates that this is not coincident result, but this reflects the students' efforts during the project. During the interviews of 10 random students, there are some challenges and some difficulties in doing the projects was show that. First, the students did not know how to arrange their writing pieces aesthetically. Therefore, they had to spend a lot of time to group work to design the newspaper. Another problem is that there were some conflicts among group members over the ideas and agreement on the theme, the content of the paper, and illustration. Another problem is that they had to find time to group work as their schedules for learning and for other activities was completely different. And especially students should read a lot of material from the internet. Therefore, it is easily for them to violate plagiarism. Besides the difficulties, there are some advantages of doing the projects. First, the students feel comfortable about exchanging information and helping each other with writing skills because they can form the groups themselves. Besides, they can develop their creativity in choosing a theme for their newspaper and illustrating the newspaper. Because of group work, the pressure of a lot of homework was reduced. The students also know how to create a small newspaper. They do the projects in group, therefore, they are more responsible to fulfilling their homework. After the project, the author have some recommendation in doing projects for writing skills. The first is that lecturers should introduce a sample or small newspaper and divide the students into small groups on the first days of the course. The groups can choose a theme for their newspaper and send the theme of the newspaper to the lecturer in the second week of the course. Having freedom in choosing the theme aroused the students' interest in doing their task. The lecturer can work with the students to create the assessment criteria for the small newspaper together. The criteria was made known to the class as soon as possible. The students learned how to work in group and solve problems during group work. Therefore, they become more responsible for their group homework. Importantly, lecturers remind the students of plagiarism and impose penalties for groups who violate plagiarism, such as the groups can have 0 mark or their marks can reduce 50% if they violate plagiarism. The lecturer can supervise and check the pace of group work of the students so that they can finish the group work in time. In conclusion, project-based learning can help students to contact the group work and improve their writing skills significantly. Doing homework as a project brings students some benefits such as developing soft skills and the required skills of the 21st century. The students becomes actively work in their project and their paragraph writing skills was improved. However, lecturers should spend a lot of time instructing them in each phase of the project, and they have to check the pace of the work so that the students can finish their project in time. And next are the images of the newspapers that the students completed. The first small newspaper is about travel. Another newspaper is about famous and talented people. This is another small newspaper about travel. They write about Dalat, Nha City, Halong Bay, and Japan. And this is a sample of the table of the content. On the first column, we can see the pages. And next are the titles of the writing pieces. And the last are the names of the writers. And this is one page of the newspaper about Dalat. Another newspaper page about Japan. And this is another newspaper about Nha Trang City. This table of content is very colorful. This writing piece is about weather and people in Nha Trang City. This is about Vinpearl Land. And thank you so much for listening to my presentation.